Dude, they are crazy, bro. The Trump admin is going crazy mode with this. This needs to happen. This needs to happen way more frequently. Like, not the arrest, I mean, just lawmakers directly putting themselves in harm's way. They can't arrest everybody. Okay. Brad Lander, ladies and gentlemen, New York City comptroller / running for New York City mayor, was apprehended by masked agents and detained by ICE at the New York immigration courts. He's whimsical even when getting arrested. That's funny. Oh my God, he's still dork maxing instead of aura farming. That's crazy. How is that possible? I mean, listen, much respect to Brad. That was cool as f- but that's still crazy. That's still crazy. He's still dork maxing at that point.
Do you have a judicial warrant? Do you have a judicial warrant? Can I see the judicial warrant? Can I see the warrant? I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant? I have my hand here. You obstructed. You obstructed. I would like to see the warrant. I'll let go. I'd like to see the warrant. Put him in custody. No! Take it back. Take it back. Take it back. Step back. You don't have authority. You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have to. I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. By asking for a judicial warrant?
Dude, they are crazy, bro. The Trump admin is going crazy mode with this. This needs to happen. This needs to happen way more frequently. Like, not the arrest, I mean, just lawmakers directly putting themselves in harm's way. They can't arrest everybody. Okay. Yeah. Brad Lander, A-OK in my book, went up multiple notches. Check out this angle. You can see his wife warned him they're approaching, so he instantly locks arms with the man. New York City comptroller Brad Lander was arrested for assaulting law enforcement and impeding a federal officer. Our heroic ICE law enforcement officers face a 413% increase. God, are you... nothing makes me angrier than seeing the Department of Homeland Security post like soy posting. I cannot stand it. It's the same principle behind like Israel supporters literally being like, we are the permanent victims, actually, while in the process of doing a historic, unprecedented, violent incident, like an unprecedented in modern history. I guess, well, not in modern history, but like since the last Holocaust, doing the new version of it while simultaneously claiming victim. It makes me so angry. It is so disgusting. It makes me so mad. Oh, our heroic ICE law enforcement officers face a 413% increase in assaults against them. It is wrong that politicians seeking higher office undermine law enforcement safety at a viral moment. Oh, yeah. So Brad's wife says, hey, they're coming to snag him, and he instantly locks arms with him. That's cool. Brad's the man, dude. Brad Lander's the man. Respect. McLaughlin, if you lay hands on an officer or impede their enforcement action, you will be arrested, as we just saw here. Earlier this week, we saw Senator Padilla go and crash Secretary Noem's press conference and aggressively approach her. Aggressively approach her? What do you mean? Like, an American senator aggressively approached a press conference to ask a question. I don't want to say what I think because I will get arrested. Not just banned, but probably arrested. So I'm not going to say anything, but I'm thinking it and I'm very upset. That's all I'm going to say. I'm so upset. Okay? I am very upset. I'm holding back from what I'm thinking. I will not be saying it. Let's just watch the rest of this video, and I hope I won't say something that will get me in trouble.
Enforcement actions, you will be arrested as just as we saw here. But Brian, even more than that, we're seeing an epidemic of Democrat politicians who are seeking higher office, much like the mayor of Newark, who went and crashed Delaney Hall and tried to get into a secure facility. Then earlier this week, we saw Senator Padilla, a sitting U.S. senator, go and crash Secretary Noem's press conference and aggressively approach her. I mean, this is
aggressively approach her.
Just the third one in a row. These guys want their 15 minutes of fame, and they want to do it off the backs of our ICE law enforcement officers, and we won't stand for it in this administration. Our law enforcement officers, their safety comes first, and so does the American citizens as well.
You know,
same line they use. Yeah, this is her. I didn't know. Never mind. I'm not going to say anything. I don't know. This was Trisha McLaughlin who said I was lying for likes. Okay, I'll say it. She's kind of bad. All right, I'm sorry. Fuck. All right, she's still a Nazi. F her. She's a piece of shit. Okay, let's keep going.
You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant. Stay back, please. Stay back.
President, we go too.
Stay back. No, ma'am. For your own safety. For your own safety.
I'm safe. Can't believe you're arresting. Where are you taking him? Hello?
Since you have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens, where are you taking me? And with what authority?
Why are you arresting?
And with what authority?
And where are you taking him?
Step back, guys. Step back, please. Security detail. This number one is going to go with him, all right? Hang on, please, number one. Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Moments ago, New York.
You have weird days. Why you gotta be a bruh guy sometimes, lol? I've gone probably like what 200 days without incident. It just slipped out. Okay.
City mayoral candidate Brad Lander walked out of court after being detained by federal officials. He's now free and frustrated.
The rule of law is not fine, and our constitutional democracy is not fine.
This just hours after Lander was handcuffed and taken into custody outside of immigration court in Lower Manhattan. And good evening at 5 o'clock. I'm Sade Bedorenwa.
And I'm Mike Marza. Brad Lander had been accused of assaulting and impeding a federal officer. Federal agents in Lower Manhattan approaching him as he locked arms with a migrant who just had his case dismissed. Lander walked out of Federal Plaza with Governor Hochul just moments ago.
News of his arrest drawing protests tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim has more from Foley Square.
Bruh, no fraternizing with a Nazi. I never said that. Can everybody calm down? You guys are acting like I'm going to send her flowers. She's a psychopathic Nazi piece of shit, okay? God damn. Everybody, you're making a mountain out of a molehill, okay? Calm down.
Take him back. Take him in. Take him in. Take him in. Take him in. Step back. Step back. Step back. Step back.
You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens.
Step back.
Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens.
This is video of ICE agents taking down City Comptroller Brad Lander and then placing him in handcuffs. The mayoral candidate arrested at Federal Plaza
Burgles, thank you for the 100 give this subs.
this morning after observing an immigration hearing. The Democratic mayoral candidate linking arms.
Yeah, they calling you a lot of names, but not a liar. True. That's true. They are. They're saying a lot of names in the chat, but ain't nobody calling me a liar. Oh.
With an immigrant who ICE agents were trying to remove, setting off the dramatic confrontation. This is how it started.
You have a judicial warrant. You have a judicial warrant. Can I see the judicial warrant? Can I see the warrant? I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant?
I peeped the IG unk. You are not valid for that take. Okay, I didn't even know she had an IG.
A DHS spokesperson says Lander was arrested for assaulting law enforcement and impeding a federal officer. And then a statement goes on to say, it is wrong that politicians seeking higher office undermine law enforcement safety to get a viral moment. No one is above the law, and if you lay a hand on a law enforcement officer, you will face
Why is this local news anchor yelling?
consequences. But moments ago, Lander released and walking out of Federal Plaza with Governor Hochul.
And do what I could to intervene. But to my knowledge, there are no charges. Charges have been dropped.
But I'm happy to report I am just fine. I lost a button.
Assemblymember Zohran Mamdani is surging in the mayor's race. He and Lander have cross-endorsed each other's candidacies.
This is not about an election. This is about ensuring that we protect the city and the country that we love.
Now, this is a live look at Foley Square, which, by the way, was quiet until Brad Lander was arrested. By the way, he just showed up here moments ago, and as expected, to a hero's welcome. The front runner in this mayor's race, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, he is also coming to Lander's defense. In a statement, he says, this is the latest example of the extreme thuggery of Trump's ICE out of control. This is not who we are. It goes on to say, this is the direct result of the mayor handing the keys of our great city over to
Andrew Cuomo forgot he's running alongside Trump as opposed to running against him, you know? For a moment he forgot, I think. For a brief moment, he's like, this is not who we are. I would definitely not do the exact same thing, except I too am also incredibly right-wing, like Eric Adams, and also am compromised in the same exact way that Eric Adams is, with a Department of Justice case that is hanging over my head that will allow Donald Trump to use me like a flesh puppet with his hand shoved directly inside of my asshole. Like, he's like, yeah, I hate the current mayor. I am literally him, but Italian, okay? Forgot his biggest donor support ICE. If you're wondering why Andrew Cuomo is so soft on ICE and why he hasn't called for Brad's release, you can just follow the money. Andrew Cuomo's biggest donor is raking millions from ICE. Reporter regarding Cuomo responds, 5 fellow mayoral candidates came here within 90 minutes of you being arrested and called for your release. What does that say about the tenure of the mayor's race? Was one of them Andrew Cuomo? It was not. Imagine that.
Was one of them Andrew Cuomo?
It was not. I wasn't going to say that.
Imagine that. Look, I mean, this is a critical time to have a mayor who will stand up to ICE and stand up to Donald Trump and insist on due process and the laws of this city.
By the way, Ted Cruz says he has no idea what the population or ethnic mix of Iran is. He wants to help U.S. He wants the U.S. to help Israel bomb and destroy the country anyway.
I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay.
I can't believe. Come on. Come on. Dude, he thought he could have got him there. Oh my God. What is happening? What is this realignment happening? Why the is Tucker Carlson on the right side of this? How is this happening? Please stop.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay.
No. This man literally is the son of a CIA agent. This is the son of a CIA agent. He is a white nationalist through and through. And not only that, but also he quite literally used to say, we have to bomb Iran. Iran is a primitive country. I can't believe this man is on the right side of this issue.
Yeah. How could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about the country. What's the ethnic mix of Iran? they are Persians and
What
predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even. You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know
claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that,
we're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
this is
Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
Dude, John Schwartz says, I've always dreamed of interviewers asking basic questions of the killer clowns who run America. I can't believe it took Tucker Carlson to do it. It is remarkable that all it took for this level of access and deep comfort from Republican senators that you can interview without any sort of editorial restrictions would only come at the tail end of a 30-year career being a hatchet man for every Republican administration. Like Tucker Carlson is doing basic journalism. Okay. This is super basic stuff. I cannot believe that Ted Cruz gave this interview to Tucker Carlson. And I suspect it's because he has a sense of comfort with Tucker. He has a rapport with Tucker because Tucker Carlson has played, I guess, the long days. Tucker saying Iran deserves to be destroyed years ago? Yeah.
Tucker, aren't we the only country allowed to make preemptive strikes? Who the hell does Iran think it is?
Actually, I know you're sort of kidding, but I agree with that. I think we are the only country.
No, I'm not kidding at all.
Rather, we are. That's absolutely right. The only country with the moral authority sufficient to do that. The only country that doesn't seek hegemony in the world. I do think, I'm sure I'm alone.
We're the only country that doesn't seek hegemony in the world, Tucker Carlson said in 2012. I mean, respect to him doing this now. He also said this about Fox News, which I don't even know what the f going on there. Tucker Carlson says Fox is a propaganda network that manipulates their mostly elderly audience. He should know he played a role in it, a formative role in this.
A claim. That's not like their viewer surveys. Like, we need a lot more Mark Levin. Less Jesse Waters, more Mark Levin. Mark Levin! What they're doing is what they always do, which is just turning up the propaganda hose to full blast and just trying to, knock elderly Fox viewers off their feet and make them submit to a new war. So
he freaks me out every time he laughs like a monster. His fake laugh is so alarming.
What?
I still hate Tucker Carlson, but he cooked. Like unconditionally cooked here. This is fantastic. This clip is supposed to be an attack on Zohran. Mamdani on the Bulwark podcast says globalizing Intifada chant signifies to him a call for Palestinian human rights. As the word is being used by the Holocaust Museum when translating the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising into Arabic because it's a word that means struggle. Okay, this is correct. So what's the attack?
Who I would say am less comfortable with the idea of banning the use of certain words, and that I think it is more evocative of a Trump-style approach to how to lead a country. And I think especially when we've seen...
Sure, but does that just make you uncomfortable? Like the phrase globalized intifada, from the river to the sea, does that make you uncomfortable? Or do you think...
Okay, those are different. Those are super different.
They're not really.
Like different genres.
I'm sorry, I'm asking Zohran. Then they're not really different to me. And to some people, they're not different.
Oh my God. Bulwark. God damn it, Tim Miller. Holy.
I know people for whom those things mean very different things. And to me,
yeah, Cam is on Bulwark now, and he's the reason why this Zohran thing is happening to begin with. Friend of the show, Cameron Kasky, and Bulwark is like the rhinos, the Never Trump Republicans who are super libbed up now.
Ultimately, what I hear in so many is a desperate desire for equality and equal rights in standing up for Palestinian human rights. And
Tim also I don't think he likes me too much. Imagining me and Tucker Carlson in a bar fight and suddenly we realize that just for the next 5 seconds we're fighting the same people. I've never seen Ted Cruz this pissed off before, downright outfoxed by a basic reading of Wikipedia. This clip is going to earn so much for Tucker Carlson. He's going to get so much cred.
I think what's difficult also is that the very word has been used by the Holocaust Museum when translating the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising into Arabic, because it's a word that means struggle.
Sure.
And as a Muslim man who grew up post 9/11, I'm all too familiar in the way in which Arabic words can be twisted, can be distorted, can be used to justify any kind.
Damn, lightest way of checking him. Zohran is pretty good at doing this, where he's like, he's giving Islamophobia, sweetie, without being in 2014 Tumblr with it, you know? Because at the end of the day, that is what it is. Being afraid of Arabic words is unironically the most racist nonsense. We don't do that for anything else.
Kind of meaning.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it leaves me with a sense that what we need to do is focus on keeping Jewish New Yorkers safe, and the question of the permissibility of language is something that I haven't.
Twitter purity leftist hate Zohran doesn't crash out and explain things calmly. Yeah. Zohran Mamdani's remarks first reported by Matthew Castle. Per credible reports, Zohran Mamdani is days away from developing a nuclear weapon. Yeah. I've been very careful, and I've been very worried that they were trying to Zohran, and they're going to still try to him like this, but I don't think this works. Rabbi Mark Schneider of Hampton Synagogue and friend of Cuomo calls on Mamdani to immediately apologize to the New York City's Jewish community for equating Intifada with the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Schneider says a direct insult to Holocaust survivors and families. Yeah, all Zohran needs to do is stand next to one Holocaust survivor, okay, who says, no, that's not the case. That's it. Pack it up. Get one, 97-year-old anti-Zionist Jewish guy who survived the Holocaust. Get Gabor Mate on there, somebody, okay? And just turn around and be like, nope, it's great. Would be a great service as well. I posted it on my IG story to vote for Zohran, and 2 family members immediately replied saying, you know he's anti-Semitic, right? And then they followed up with a Canary Mission video. Nice. At this point, yeah, I saw the Rabbani joke about Zohran Mamdani. Yeah, he got the Bernie endorsement today, which is... the Bernie endorsement is just it's consequential, but it's nowhere near as consequential as the AOC one was.
We're so close to Election Day, but believe it or not, the hardest days of this race are yet to come. Because right now, Andrew Cuomo and...
Isn't it anti-Semitic to use Jewish people as a human shield like Israel's doing right now? No, when Israel does it, it's awesome. And if you call it out, then it's up. But no, I think this is a performance. That rabbi is doing this to defend Cuomo and to attack Zohran. And it's an election. So he should follow through on that performance and be like, see, that's not true. Because that rabbi is using his position of authority and his Jewish background to launch a totally ridiculous smear of anti-Semitism towards someone who is not anti-Semitic at all. And therefore, the best response would be to do the optic play and literally have a Holocaust survivor, or maybe like Norm Finkelstein, come out and be like, my parents were in the Warsaw Ghetto and they would be ashamed. Something like that.
His billionaire allies are spending millions of dollars to try and defeat our movement. Cuomo's super PAC has dumped $5 million in the last week alone, lying about me and my policies. And there's at least another $5 million coming. For the next 9 days, you won't be able to turn on your TV, check your mail, or even watch a YouTube video without...
What is going on, bro? What the... Hey, yo, full crash? That's crazy. Full crash, baby. Big Cuomo got my ass. We're back though. That's annoying. Is there a delay again? Oh, there definitely is a delay. There's like a refresh. There's a delay. Throw up ones. Stop posting ones before I ask you to throw up ones. All right, good. The delay is not that bad. Never mind. Let's continue.
Don't want to pay just a little bit more in taxes to make a better city for all of us. The landlord lobby knows I'm going to freeze your rent. And Trump's donors know I will actually fight this authoritarian regime. How do we fight back? Through our most powerful tool, you. That's why in these final days, I'm asking you to knock on as many doors as you can. And what's that? For our out-of-state friends, we're asking you to make as many phone calls as possible. You have the power to set the record straight. These next few days are going to be a fight, but it's one worth having, and one we can win together.
I think I'm going to start asking you guys to throw up different numbers. Sanders endorses Mamdani for New York City
Race
mayor.
for New York City mayor. The primary is 1 week from today, and we just learned Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders will be endorsing Zohran Mamdani. Today, Sanders saying in part, at this pivotal and dangerous moment in American history, status quo politics is not good enough. We need the kind of visionary leadership that Zohran is providing in his campaign. In my view, Zohran Mamdani is the best choice for mayor of New York City. This comes a day after Mamdani and Michael Blake cross-endorsed each other.
Ranked choice voting will decide this election. And Michael and I, one of the many things we agree on from the beginning of this race has been the necessity of turning the page on the politics of the past, whether it's Eric Adams or Andrew Cuomo.
Meanwhile, mayoral frontrunner Andrew Cuomo had a Get Out the Vote rally joined by union leaders and members.
You wonder why the city's not run well, because we haven't had.
Dude, New York City unions that have endorsed Andrew Cuomo are pigs. Pig unions. The rank and file will not follow through on this, but it doesn't matter. I cannot stand how many stupid pig unions exist and how aggressively they serve the interests of establishment Democrats that will destroy them for no real reason whatsoever, even for just simply ideological reasons. Stupid pig unions, dude. God damn. Really leaning into the stupid ass meme. Yeah, the New York Times editorial board says don't rank Zohran, a state rep who's won several significant legislative victories because he has less relevant experience than perhaps any mayor in New York City history, and instead recommends Tilson, a hedge fund manager with zero government experience, while also simultaneously presenting Bernie Sanders as an alternative who gets shit done. And then lo and behold, a day later, Bernie Sanders endorses Zohran. But, oh, we already covered this, yeah. Oh, Iran definitely shot those jets down. I know. Zohran Mamdani connects with poor people and young people and unfortunately is a local version of Bernie Sanders, according to one of New York Times panelists opposed to Zohran Mamdani, an NYU professor. He's not just speaking to poor people. He's speaking to young people who are not poor, but they feel he's talking to them. Unfortunately, he's basically running a Bernie Sanders local version. How do you slap unfortunately in front of that without any sense of shame? This is indicative of the Cuomo attitude on the street. Even his canvassers hate him. I asked the Andrew Cuomo canvasser sitting on the corner of my polling site watching YouTube on his phone why isn't he handing out the lit materials. And he said, I'm being paid either way and I don't like the man Lamau. Cuomo and the super PACs backing him are going to spend $20+ million on ads before June 24th. I think the best part about this is that like most of the attack ads make Zohran look good. That's it. Do you think Zohran has a chance of winning this? It's tough. It's a tough race. I'm not going to lie to you. I think a lot of people are just, they're checked out. It's a New York City mayoral primary. The super boosters that go out and fucking vote in these sorts of events are old, boomer, totally brain poisoned, Gen Xer, often incredibly reactionary libs. So it's a tough race. It's a tough race. I'm not going to lie to you. He's going up against an institution. The Cuomo family has brand recognition, tremendous brand recognition. Yo, Gen X is getting thrown under the boomer bus. Gen Xers are the most reactionary generation. They're more reactionary than boomers. If we're doing generational politics, which is not something that I entertain beyond memes, Gen Xers are literally known as the lead poison generation for a reason. It's literally a blip on every metric. If you look at every metric, they are more reactionary than boomers are. They are literally the lead poison generation. It's crazy. If you look at like predisposition towards violence, like on every metric, it's like this. It'll be like boop, 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 Zoomers, you know, millennials, whatever. Gen X, boom, massive blip, and then back to boomers, it goes down. Obviously, that's not the entirety. That's why like generational politics like this are stupid. But it's crazy.
Had a qualified, competent mayor who knew how to manage the city.
Stay with us on air and online at ABC7NY for the latest in the race for New York City mayor.
Big city Dems are going socialist in liberal New York City. AOC and Bernie-backed Zohran Mamdani, a proud Democratic socialist, is surging, leading Andrew Cuomo for the first time, but it's just in one poll. And this, of course, is in the New York City mayoral race. Now, among Zohran's biggest socialist promises are freezing the rent, city-run grocery stores,
like
and
literally none of these are socialist, man. What are you talking about? And they also, this is what I meant when I said, when they try to shit on Zohran and talk about his policies, it comes across like a ad, not an attack ad, just an ad. Oh, wow, I can't believe it. He wants to freeze rent. How's that going to work? That's terrifying. I'm a renter and I really want my rent to go up. Like, what are you, stupid?
Workers to replace the police.
Freezing your rent as the next mayor of New York City. And as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. I'll make childcare available to all New Yorkers at no cost.
Stop. That's terrifying. I hate that. That's so scary. That would be really f***ed up.
Greg, what could go wrong? I think I'm all in for Zohran.
I am too. I would love to see social workers instead of cops, instead of handcuffs and pepper spray. They could bring pictures of their cats and their Dave Matthews CDs. That'll do it. I feel like the Democrat Party is on a kamikaze mission. You know, instead of, if the party's going to go down.
I love getting my notes about what the Democrats should do from the people that are incredibly antagonistic to the opposition. Like the people that have presented themselves openly as the opposition to the Democrats, being like, here's what you guys should do. It's like, nah, you know, I'm thinking I'm not going to hear you out. But of course, I'm not a Democratic Party staffer. I'm not a DNC operative. I am not an establishment Democrat who unfortunately only listen to the opinions of people like Greg Buttfeld when making decisions. And that's why they lose all the time, because they're stupid.
We're going to take the whole ship with us. The remaining sane Democrats.
Yeah, guy who hates your cause. This is going to be really bad for your cause. Literally all I have to deal with on a daily fucking basis is like Asmongold fans coming in here and being like, dude, you are so radical. You're really hurting the Palestine cause. It's like, bro, I can see the things you say. Okay. Like your previous comments are literally talking about how Palestinians deserve to be murdered. You don't care. You don't care about the pro-Palestinian movement, you idiot. Shut up.
If there are any, Jessica, you got to weigh the cost of sticking with these social justice suicide bombers because nobody wants this. It used to be cities were actually an actual sanctuary where you married commerce with.
Come on, bro. Keep going. Social. First he said kamikaze. That didn't hit. Then he said suicide bombers. Then he's going to say Zohran Mamdani is going to strap IEDs to his chest and explode himself while screaming Allahu Akbar at the site of the 9/11. Like, come on, dude. Increase it a little bit. People didn't get it the first time. People didn't get it the second time. Social justice suicide bombers.
Security, safety in numbers. You could do business.
Yeah, this Zohran Mamdani, weird name, by the way. Very scary. What is he, a Muslim? Yeah, he's really trying to do another 9/11 in New York, huh?
It wasn't like the Wild West. Now it's worse than the Wild West. It's a magnet for mayhem. Sanctuary cities did that, where the worst behavior is rewarded and decent people live in terror. They don't even take public transportation. The left love to say, this is worse than 9/11, whether it's January 6th or Trump's reelection. I'm telling you, man, the Democrats under Bill de Blasio managed to do to New York City what Al-Qaeda never could do, which is destroy our will to fight.
I'm not going to speak anymore. I was that. Wow. That's crazy. I don't know what to say about that. I don't like this man, Hassan. Why are we watching him? I just jokingly said, what's next? He's going to say these guys are going to do a 9/11 on the party. Like they're doing a 9/11 in New York. And he just said it. He just straight up said it. It was like the next thing he said after I unpaused.
And destroy our will to live. If this guy even gets close to being elected, dude, you're going to see this. You're going to see this go to hell.
Well, the good news with Greg's analysis is Mr. Zohran is only ahead in one poll. Cuomo, the guy they chased out of the party, is ahead by double digits basically everywhere.
You know, you said it last segment. I've been trying to save New York City for years, but if they don't want to be saved, then screw them. I left. Everybody else is sitting here. You thought they'd hit rock bottom with de Blasio. How much worse can it get?
It's like Daniel Penny.
Sure.
Same analogy. It saves all these people's lives in the subway, and they charge him with murder.
Right. So they're just going to keep voting for dummies. And what? The rent keeps raising. Crime keeps going up. You can't drive anywhere here. There's migrants. Biden ejected about 1 million of them. And they're even considering voting for this guy. There's a famous quote, which I'm about to butcher, that says that normal people learn from their own mistakes and wise people learn from other people's mistakes. You'd think the Democrats in this city would look at San Francisco and say, I don't want to be them. But they're sitting here about to become San Francisco.
Interesting.
San Francisco's good now.
No, it's not.
My goodness. Okay.
You like Mayor Lori.
Jessica, I want to ask you this.
The new mayor is
I don't even know who that is.
Jessica,
well,
okay,
that reflects
on the
poorly
subject
on
of New York.
Ugh, it's so stupid. I can't deal with this.
Attack ads and a surprise takedown of one candidate by the New York Times editorial board. Yes, we are in the final week of a heated Democratic mayoral primary.
It's definitely heated. Political.
It sucks because there's an argument to be made to these disgusting fucking liberals in New York, these elitist, smug, entitled, out of touch liberals about why Zohran is the man for the moment. Okay? And that is, he's a fighter. That is what the party needs. Okay? Someone who is young, someone who's a fighter, someone who's going to lit the fire under the asses of our gerontocracy. And yet, these guys hear the socialism word, they hear his takes about Israel, and they go, oh my God, this is terrifying. More Chuck Schumers. Let 1 million Chuck Schumers bloom, please. They don't understand. And I don't know how to convince these dipshits. The elitist, out of touch liberals is his base. White, college educated and affluent is his base. Democratic primary politics is weird. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the New York Times. I'm talking about the premium elite, okay? The cream of the crop. Those are the who write these articles, who then get reported on by all of these media outlets, who then actually inform the working class boomer black and brown voters that are currently still in love with the Cuomo franchise. Okay? That's how this works. Because ultimately, yes, all the college educated white men are voting for Zohran. That's one thing. But the reality of the matter is, a lot of the New York primary mayoral voters that are going out and voting and putting Andrew Cuomo as their number one are doing so because of name recognition and incredibly simple reasons, like the fact that the New York Times will attack Zohran. They think Zohran's name is kind of weird. Maybe they saw a New York Post article those liberals do have the capacity to inform the Democratic primary voters, but they don't. They did this with Bernie Sanders too. They did this exact same thing with Bernie Sanders, where they Bernie and aggressively attacked him. The Democratic Party's like all institutions worked in real time against Bernie Sanders, and then they packed it up and turned around and were celebrating the fact that, like, well, black people don't with Bernie, he must be racist. They buried him. They him and then they buried him. That's the liberals that I'm talking about. The very specific group of liberals that do actually have a lot of influence in a key demographic, Democratic primary voters. The aunts, the uncles, those people that go out and vote, they get their information, maybe not directly from New York Times, but from secondary outlets like this one that's covering the New York Times article. If there was more positive coverage about someone like Zohran in a way that if there was more positive coverage about Zohran in a way that actually like convinced the aunts and the unks, because the New York Times was writing about it in that regard, where it's like, well, a lot of people have discontent about the way that the party is going. And then they talked about how this is a fresh voice. Then all the aunts and the unks would be on board with Zohran too, or more of them would be.
Marcia Kramer joins us now with the story. Marcia.
Well, Jessica and Christine, the New York Times editorial board decided not to endorse in the mayoral primary this year, but it is a blistering non-endorsement that is threatening to reverberate through the final days of the campaign because it affects the two frontrunners in the race.
Are we ready to win for Andrew Cuomo?
Andrew Cuomo held a massive Get Out the Vote rally with union members. Zohran Mamdani and Michael Blake cross-endorsed each other as part of a strategy to use ranked choice voting to hurt Cuomo. But the development that pulsated through the Democratic mayoral primary was the decision by the New York Times editorial board to urge voters not to vote for Mamdani. We do not believe that Mr. Mamdani deserves a spot on New Yorkers' ballots. His experience is too thin and his agenda reads like a turbocharged version of Mr. de Blasio's dismaying mayoralty, said the Times, referring to former Mayor Bill de Blasio. Mamdani poo-pooed it.
These are the opinions of about a dozen New Yorkers, and a democracy will be decided by close to 1 million New Yorkers. They certainly have the right to their opinions, and New Yorkers have the right to their votes.
Andrew Cuomo was only too happy to agree with the Times.
So experience, confidence, knowing how to do the job, knowing how to deal with Trump, knowing how to deal with Washington.
Like, if Andrew Cuomo wasn't like a rapacious rapist, they literally would have endorsed him in a heartbeat, and they'd be sucking his penis on the editorial board. They'd be like loving it. I'm willing to bet they're so mad that it had to be Cuomo, and they couldn't prop up like a more viable candidate who hasn't been in the SEO as like a rapist murderer of grandparents. Okay. Like, because you're going to look up Andrew Cuomo in the New York Times, and then the related articles are like, Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed every woman in broad daylight in his near vicinity, including cops. Andrew Cuomo, cop rapist. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously, they can't say that. They can't be like, oh, yeah, we love Andrew Cuomo, cop rapist. So they have to do a non-endorsement because they're cowardly douchebags.
Knowing how to deal with the state legislature. These are basics. And I believe in on-the-job training, but not as mayor of New York. And then you wonder why the city's not run well. Because we haven't had a qualified, competent mayor who knew how to manage the city.
The Times raised objections to the former governor's ethics and conduct, but admitted, quote, he would be better for New York's future than Mr. Mamdani.
There you go. New York Times does a non-endorsement, fake endorsement, because they're too cowardly to do a real endorsement. New York Times endorses cop rapist Andrew Cuomo.
All this as the two top contenders took to the airwaves to troll for votes. This is part of an ad by Cuomo super PAC, Fix the City.
Listen to Zohran Mamdani.
I was quite open to what would be considered being a radical from a very young age.
What will that mean for us? Mamdani actually wants to move the homeless into our subway station.
Mamdani. Some say he's playing the knockout game with the elderly. Zohran Mamdani, he wants to move the homeless into the subway stations is awesome. What the that my mom was talking to one of her friends, another freaking academic, okay, from New York, and apparently my mom's academic friend from New York saw this stupid ad, and now she thinks I can't in good conscience rank Zohran Mamdani as number one because of what he wants to do to the homeless. So I told my mom, because she was asking me, like, how do I convince her? And I was like, tell her you will never talk to her ever again unless she ranks Zohran number one and does not rank Andrew Cuomo. I was like, put your friendship with this dumbass academic on the line before she makes this incredibly idiotic mistake. I can't stand, oh my God, I can't stand the liberal intelligentsia. Let me tell you something, okay? Oh my God, I can't stand them. Their politics are so repulsive. I promise you. They are the Reddit / neoliberal contingency, like in the real world. You're like, oh, no one actually goes to r / neoliberal in the real world. These people don't, but they just have that downloaded into their brains, that kind of attitude.
Trump's billionaire donors support Andrew Cuomo, so it's no surprise they're lying about me.
He's promising to defund the police.
I'll partner with police to deliver real public safety.
Brad Lander was endorsed by Peter and Daniel Arbini, whose dad died of COVID in a nursing home.
He has gaslighted our family. He's never apologized, and he continues to lie.
I mean, it is stunning how little responsibility for Andrew Cuomo's actions he has ever taken.
Now, the primary is a week from tomorrow. Early voting has already started, but the ad barrage from all the camps is just getting started. And if you've ever voted in an election in New York, your mailboxes are probably full of flyers from all the candidates. Can't wait.
Yeah, every time I look up at the television screen.
Look, you're not wrong about the related New York Times articles. Why Andrew Cuomo's critics say he's just like Eric Adams. Cuomo was contrite about a sexual harassment scandal. Not anymore. Women versus Cuomo. Revisiting a history of harassment complaints. Yeah, you search Andrew Cuomo on the New York Times. Not a lot of good stuff's going to come up because it was newsworthy at the time and the New York Times had to write it. I can't stand these demons. I've been hurt too many times. So I'm just maintaining my hopeful my optimism, and that's all it is. And that's all I got for the time. Anyway, love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to be in New York this upcoming week for the New York mayoral primary. Speaking of Zohran. Hasan Reaction is one of the best ones in the React channel.